If you look at the official stat sheet for the ARCA Menards Series race at Kansas Speedway, you'll see Cletus McFarland's name buried down in 20th place, a DNF, a blown engine, a disaster, right? Wrong. The box score is lying to you. What actually happened in the number 30 Ford that afternoon wasn't a failure. It was one of the most undeniable, jaw-dropping stock car runs of his entire career. He didn't just survive the pack, he carved through it like a veteran right up until his engine violently exploded, dumped oil across the front stretch, and brought out the red flag. Today, we are breaking down the Kansas masterclass that nobody is talking about, the incredible drift that saved his car from the wall, and why this bad finish is exactly what he needed. But before we get into the breakdown, a quick favor: we are on a massive push to hit our goal of 10,000 subscribers. If you want the real, unfiltered stories behind the biggest racing headlines, hit that subscribe button right now. It takes 1 second and helps us out a ton. All right, let's get into the race. Kansas wasn't just another weekend on the calendar. This was his second ARCA start on a 1.5-mile intermediate track. If you know anything about stock car racing, you know that intermediate tracks are where the training wheels come off. You can't just rely on drafting like at Daytona, and you can't just muscle the car around a short track. You have to deal with dirty air, intense aerodynamics, and a steep learning curve. And Cletus rolled into Kansas carrying a fresh new look. He debuted the baldeagle.com paint scheme, which is hilarious when you think about it because that's his own company. He was literally sponsoring himself. Before the green flag even dropped, he was already joking around saying, "If I don't get a top 10 today, my sponsor is going to fire me." It was a great joke, but the pressure was real, and early on he showed he had the pace. In practice, he clocked in 13th fastest, not front row speed, but absolutely solid for a guy still earning his stripes. But then the weather rolled in, qualifying was washed out. ARCA had to set the starting lineup by the rule book, and just like that, Cletus was brutally shoved all the way back to 25th on the starting grid. Any hope of a clean, easy run in the top 15 was gone. He was going to have to fight through heavy traffic. This is where the story shifts from a fun YouTube crossover event to a legitimate racing masterclass. When the green flag waved, Cletus didn't just hang out at the back trying to log laps, he went to work. In the first 5 laps of the race, he passed 11 cars. Let me repeat that. 11 cars in 5 laps. He rocketed from 25th to 14th before the tires even fully came up to temperature. This wasn't luck. He wasn't advancing because people were wrecking out in front of him. He was outbraking, outmaneuvering, and outpacing the competition. By the halfway break, he was sitting in 11th place. Then on a mid-race restart, he pulled off a daring 3-wide pass that pushed him all the way up to 7th place. 7th, from 25th on the grid. He was doing exactly what the critics said he couldn't do. He was proving he had the racecraft, the patience, and the raw talent to fight inside the top 10 at a high-speed, aerodynamic-dependent track. The joke about his sponsor firing him if he didn't get a top 10. It was about to become a reality in the best way possible, but racing is a cruel, cruel sport. While running strong inside the top 10, the engine started to go sour. He began to lose a little bit of pace, dropping back slightly. And then with about 25 laps to go, absolute heartbreak. The number 30 engine violently let go. A massive plume of white smoke erupted from the car, dumping a slick trail of oil all over the front stretch. It was instant chaos. The oil slick was so bad that Andy Jankowiak and Isabella Robusto, who were running right behind him, lost traction, spun out, and slammed into the wall, forcing ARCA to immediately throw the red flag. But amidst all that chaos, Cletus pulled off what might be the most underrated move of the entire weekend. Driving blind through his own smoke, sliding sideways on his own oil at over 150 miles per hour through turns 1 and 2, he somehow kept the car off the wall. He managed to catch the slide, feather the steering, and bring the completely blown-up race car to a safe stop. If he hooks the wall right there, he tears up the chassis and ends the weekend in a completely different, much more painful way. Now most drivers would be kicking the dirt, screaming on the radio, and throwing their helmet after a mechanical failure robbed them of a top 10. But Cletus, He climbed out of the car, looked at the cameras, and joked about how sick his drift through Turn 1 must have looked on the TV broadcast. He told reporters that because he made it through 75% of the race, he was counting it as a win. And honestly, he's absolutely right. The box score says 20th. But the NASCAR officials, the team owners, and the fans watching closely saw a guy who started in the back, carved through the field, ran clean, and proved he belonged. This race was a massive stepping stone for his progression and his approval for future superspeedway events. The engine died, but his reputation as a stock car driver leveled up. But I want to pass the question off to you guys. Do you consider this Kansas race a massive heartbreak? Or do you agree with Cletus that running top 10 before the blow-up is a total win? Let me know your exact thoughts down in the comments below. I read every single one. And hey, if you love this breakdown and want more high-quality, no-filler racing content, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We are pushing hard for that 10,000 subscriber milestone, and we cannot do it without you. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you in the next video.